Is, yes, is Carl there? Okay. And has he been made a panelist?
I sent him the invitation, he has to accept it.
Okay, all right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Wareham Planning Board meeting of Monday, March 9th, 2026. The time is 6 p.m. and we are in the Multi-Service Center, room 520 at 48 Marion Road, Wareham, Massachusetts. And we are available on Zoom and also being televised on Wareham Media. I start by calling the meeting to order with a roll call.
Baptiste here.
Julie Moran here.
Sam Corbett here.
And
Carl Schultz is here.
There we go. And Jane Gleason here, so we have the full board. Thank you, Carl. Welcome.
Thank you.
First preliminary item of business is, we'll do that first. Approval of meeting minutes for February 9, 2026. Those haven't been received yet, so we'll postpone that to the next meeting for review and approval. I am going to take two continued public hearings out of order. Items 3 and 4 on the agenda. They've both asked for continuances. We'll start with Project 1425 Water Whiz at 3031 Cranberry Highway LLC for site plan review at 3031 Cranberry Highway. They have asked for a continuance, and we need to determine a date specific that they want to be continued to. So is anybody here from Water Whiz?
Mr. Darling, if you could promote him. I think asked you to Cal with his.
Good evening, William Davis on behalf of Waterwiz.
Okay. We understand that you and your applicant wish to be continued, and we need to determine a date specific to continue you to. I understand that there's a comment that you were waiting for from the peer reviewer from Allen Majors.
That is correct. We just received those public comments only a couple hours ago, so we're going to need some time to be able to review and provide some responses to that.
Yeah, clearly. So what works
Jane?
for... Yes.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Just a question for the applicant. Do you have the traffic study completed?
Let's see here. I have a traffic study dated, looks like February 12th from 2026. Has that been provided to the board?
Okay, Josh, I looked for it. I didn't see it. Did it get posted?
I believe I forwarded it in an email. I don't know that it was posted to the.
Well, we'll have a chance to look it over before we meet the next time, but it's good to know that it's out there.
Madam Chair, I didn't hear what Josh said.
I believe I emailed. Is it just me?
Oh, it's
No, you're
Okay.
You're good.
I believe I emailed it to you, Carl. I don't know that it's on the application page yet.
okay. I'll go back and look at email. I went to the application page to look for it, and I'll check my email. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
I
Thank
believe
you.
it was in a prior submission, so that might be where there was some confusion.
Okay. So do you think that you can be ready to proceed at our next meeting, which is the 23rd of this month? So in 2 weeks?
March 23rd?
Yes.
I don't believe that'll be a problem.
Okay. All right, so I'll accept a motion to continue to March 23rd at a regular meeting.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Mike Baptiste, aye.
Julie Moran, aye.
Sam Corbett, aye.
Carl?
Carl Schultz, aye.
And chair votes aye. So 500. We will see you on the 23rd. Thank you, Mr. Davis.
Great, thank you so much.
The next item is item 4 under continued public hearings, 26-2 Frederick Mannix Site Plan Review Special Permit for 238 and 240 Sandwich Road. They have requested a continuance, waiting, so still working on the comments from the peer reviewer.
Yes, the peer review was submitted on...
Can you back up and
Okay,
state your
yes,
name
Peter
for the
Teitelbaum,
record?
project attorney. Yeah, the peer review was submitted on the 20th, but we didn't receive it until I asked for it, about the status.
Yeah.
And so we didn't have time to address some of the concerns they'd raised. And they're not, extensive concerns, but we still have to work with the engineer to get them straightened out. Something that might be helpful in the future would be if the peer reviewer would send it to the board, to planning, and to the applicant as well. And then
If
everybody's got it,
possible,
and
yeah.
then everybody can
Possible.
start the process immediately, and I don't have to bug you for a continuance.
We always get it.
Yeah.
So, do you think that 2 weeks you
Yeah.
could be ready?
Yeah, it should be.
Okay, so I'd entertain a motion to continue you to the 23rd of March.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Mike Baptiste, aye.
Julie Moran, aye.
Sam Corbett, aye.
Carl Schultz, aye.
And chair votes aye, so 500. We will see you on the 23rd.
Yes, and to Carl's earlier point with the prior applicant, the peer review is up on the application page now, Carl.
Thank you. I didn't ask that one. I knew it was there, but thank you. Thank you, Peter.
Hey, Peter.
Oh, Daddy's backwards.
Okay, moving along, back to the beginning, under preliminary business, item 2, the zoning rewrite presentation by Judy Barrett. I've been informed that Judy Barrett is under the weather and is not here this evening. Don't know if Bob is here? Don't see him.
Doesn't appear so, no?
Yeah, so it looks like we're postponing that zoning rewrite presentation to a later date, date unknown. Citizen petition, amendments to zoning bylaw, Article 9, 952, off-site parking and proximity. Good evening.
Just realized the last time I was on the planning board was 2012.
And we're going to do what we do to everybody and have you state your name and spell it for us, for the
I'll get there
record.
eventually. Alan Slavin, Precinct 3. I try to do something which would help basically retail businesses because occupancy permits for how many people you can put into, say, a restaurant or whatever, is based on parking which is privately controlled, not publicly. The city of Boston has taken some of their areas and designated certain streets that they allow them to actually include public parking in their requirements. Because if you look at Wareham Village, Onset Village, there really is no parking that is owned by anyone. It's all public. So all this article does, and I discussed it with Josh and stuff, is to open up the parking restrictions, and that in the article is listed for set 2 areas, which allows 3/8 of a mile circle from any establishment to include anything that's public in their total. I mean, if you look at this, an example, El Marachi is an example, or the new Port Tavern, they have no parking whatsoever, period. If Port Tavern decides they want to add seating outside, there's a little patio area, they may come into a conflict with having to have a site plan review done or whatever. They can't provide it. Most of these places can't provide handicap spots as well, which again, the town has. So I wanted to make sure that most zoning articles over the years I did are so convoluted, people don't understand them, and they're hard to get through. This is as simple as possible. I've had legal counsel look it through, and I've also given it to Josh to review as well. Any questions?
I had a question, Alan, on public parking. For instance, and I have to look at, is the library in Onset, is that within that 3/8 of a mile? The reason I ask is, defining public parking. We all know the municipal lot in downtown Wareham. Would the library be considered public parking? Have we defined public parking?
In Onset, Onset, the only parking in Onset is on the street.
Right, right.
Public parking is street. It's controlled by the town.
But I guess my
What's,
question, do you
what's the
understand what I'm
parking by
saying?
the school?
Yeah,
Is
I'm
that-
just,
And then there's the public parking lot that's
Yes.
across from the playground.
Yep, and then up on the other side. Again, say if you take Pier Restaurant, you basically take them, protractor, go around 3/8 of a mile. Anything within that area is included. It's not just blanket everywhere.
sure, sure.
So I
Madam
guess-
Chair,
Yes.
could I ask a point on that? Is it, where is the center of the 3/8 radius? Is it the building that's being modified, or is it the center of the zoning district?
No, it's the actual, Kyle, it's the actual piece of property. Basically, it's the business itself.
That's what I thought. So you pointed out Pier View Restaurant. I wasn't sure why you did that. So so would if I took a property on the extreme end of the village district, would that 3/8 mile circle then extend beyond the village district?
Technically it could, but what I did was the article. I basically specified the actual locations of the range of where this would work. So if you
Yeah, I think it's that is unclear, what would get counted. And then, okay, I'll have more questions, Madam Chair. While we were talking about peer review,
Yeah.
I didn't understand the point.
Yeah. So I think the primary concern that I've got is how you manage or quantify who has counted a parking space or parking spaces on the street for their business, and how you determine when you've saturated the public parking that's available.
You're going to saturate the public parking. Simple as that. If you look at the city of Boston, this is almost a rewrite of what they did. And it's the same thing. You have in Boston certain areas where you probably have 10 restaurants in a line. They're all working off the same public parking area. It's been approved by the state, it's been approved by the Attorney General. It's just to allow these people to have capacity. Retail stores, retail restaurants in particular, if you can't fill your restaurant because you don't have enough parking, you go out of business. You can go before the ZBA and ask for a handicap areas, whatever, but you have to pay $750, and there's no guarantee. It could be months before you get it. All we're trying to do is take two areas where we're trying to keep the development of Wareham moving forward. This is just simply a pro-business way of doing something. It doesn't affect the town at all. As far as everything's the same right now. It just allows for a little bit of leverage.
So I guess I keep getting stuck on the public parking spaces, and I use the new playground that has some parking for the playground, not a lot, the library that has parking for the library. Alan, would you consider, under this, do we consider those public parking spaces? That's my question.
It's really easy. You basically go to the town administrator who controls the property in the town, and he can give you a list of all the public parking in the town. We don't do it, you don't do it, he does it.
So we'll have to look at that and see if it includes those places, because that would be.
Yeah.
And Alan, I absolutely understand the challenge in these districts. It's, what we want to do is make sure that we aren't boxing out families coming to the playground or to the library because they're being used by retail space. And I know it's a real challenge, so.
Yeah, I guess,
That would be my
and
question.
I wonder about when it is you meet the saturation point,
Yeah.
and when you've got to ramp up the number of public parking spaces.
Again, that's the town's problem, if the town wants to buy property.
Yeah.
All we're trying to do is make it available that businesses that come into Wareham have the ability to fill their business. They're not going to sit there and fill up the public library parking area over there, because there's really nothing over there to attract them there, if you think about it. And the playground, there's a little strip of parking on the right-hand side as you go down there. You're not going to have people there and go all the way up to say, the new deli on the top of the hill, or Pier View.
Yeah, except that you would count them in the available spaces.
That's correct, Kyle. Only so they can have capacity.
But they don't really have capacity if those spaces truly aren't realistically available.
They're available at least by law.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's my biggest concern is, at what point have you said, sure, you can count those for your business, but really, they're full all the time, so you'll never be able to use them.
Not always. But again, if you want to spend some time, go to the city of Boston, read what they did, and read the areas which they did exactly this. And New Bedford just has done the same thing.
Yeah, Boston seems to be a stretch for a comparison to Wareham.
It's just the rules and the law. New Bedford's done it, so it's not a stretch. There's some stuff in Falmouth. When you get into an area where you have a tourist area, and especially when it's an old community like Onset in particular, those places were laid out where the horse and buggy, you walked everywhere, or there's a trolley. It was never designed where it ended up. And all we're trying to do is help redevelop the area, keep it going. And I don't want to see businesses coming to Wareham and lasting 4 or 5 months and then going out because they can't survive. That's all this is.
And Alan, other question, what you typically see in Boston is 2-hour limit, 3-hour limit. So is that what you would envision?
That again is up to the town. It's not part of this article. That again would be your town administrator if they want to restrict, because you already have parking rules for both, the
Some.
areas.
Some of them, yep.
You already have that 2 hour down the pier, et cetera. You also have, meters and stuff. The town wants to put meters into increase revenue, that's up to them. Again, that's outside I believe that's outside the bounds of what we're doing here.
Sam, anything? Mike, anything? Josh?
So next steps on this would be you.
Wait, I have my hand up. I'm
Oh,
waiting to
sorry.
ask my questions.
Carl, go ahead.
Go, Carl.
Sorry. You're little because he put up the map.
Oh, okay. Mr. Slavin, you've made a couple of statements referring to restaurant parking. This ordinance, or this bylaw would apply to any business. Is that correct?
Basically, it's, retail business, et cetera. It doesn't apply to.
It doesn't say that, though. So if a 40B housing project comes in, they would then be exempt from providing parking,
I think
the way this bylaw is written, as I read it.
I will point out that we're not subject to 40B anymore.
Correct.
That's not the point. We will
I
be
understand
someday
that's not the
again.
point. I understand.
Yeah.
I think when we looked at it, we decided that it was for, businesses located in those areas.
But you could do a 40B in those areas. They're zoned for it. You don't have to be zoned for it. You could do a 40B anywhere. Okay, so there's no cap on the number of spaces. So if I were to put a wedding venue in the district that needed 200 or 300 parking spaces, they would be exempt.
That's correct.
So you're trying to retroactively work spaces into an existing business.
That's wrong. I take offense at that.
Excuse me. Let me rephrase it. That would be the effect of what happens.
That could be that way, but I don't like being accused of something.
I'm sorry. I didn't. It wasn't. I misphrased.
You can apologize later.
Okay. So, but I'm concerned that we already know we have a parking problem, and while you're this article, I'm not trying to say you. I'm going to say this article. The intent is to encourage business, encourage more parking demand, without providing any new capacity. That's my concern.
Again, this article has nothing to do with increasing capacity. If you want to increase capacity, the planning board can sit there and write an article for town meeting, increasing capacity, asking for a parking lot or whatever. That's on your side, not mine.
I
you have
disagree.
control of that.
I'll respectfully disagree. This bylaw is in effect increasing demand without increasing capacity. So that's my concern.
Understand, Carl. Again, I suggest you lobby the town administrator.
Oh, no, I could say I don't think this is a good bylaw until we address the plan of increasing capacity. That's the purpose of this discussion. That's my feedback to you. My concern is we could increase demand without increasing capacity.
I appreciate it. We'll see how it goes at town meeting. You still riding, Kyle, by the way?
No, I fell and I sold my bike.
I'm sorry to hear that. It's good
Yeah.
to see you, though.
Thank you.
Josh?
So next steps on this is we'd have to advertise a public hearing. I'm gonna take a look at what Boston, New Bedford, and Falmouth have done to get the perspective on, how they've handled these scenarios. The warrant article does say business location, so I guess then you would relate it to what the definition of business is in the bylaw. But we could try to make that a little bit more clear.
We can modify it if you want, but the reason we used business was specifically so it didn't involve, someone having an apartment house even, and then just expand it on their own.
So, Madam Chair, through you to the Director of Plan, I think we also need to look at the impact to the redevelopment district, because this would then eliminate all the planning that went into the design of the redevelopment district, because there would no longer be a parking requirement. The whole plan for elevating the buildings, providing under deck parking, that requirement would be eliminated.
You still doing the redevelopment?
I'm sorry.
It was a question directed towards me, Carl.
Okay.
Yeah, the Wareham Redevelopment Authority is, actively trying to get something going. What I would say is, the traffic or the parking studies that we've done in Wareham Village have shown that we have an abundance of parking.
When was that last done? Any
I'll
idea?
I'll have to get it for you.
I'm just wondering
But it
how the business makeup has changed, because it's a
Well,
it's a
it
moving
hasn't
target.
changed yet.
No.
It hasn't changed yet. The
No, but
plan is to get
there
it.
are new restaurants or different restaurants, and
Okay,
yeah, it's
I was
not
more looking
completely
ahead to
static.
the whole redevelopment plan, though,
Yeah.
which is a massive review of the kind of buildings that would be down there. So these two, this bylaw or this zoning change, I see as in conflict with the intention of the redevelopment district. So I think we need to look at all those implications.
So I would put
Plus-
it out there that it doesn't necessarily mean that a new development doesn't have parking. I would say
It
that.
does. How do you read that? I don't read it that way. In fact, Mr. Slavin, that's not what your intent is, correct?
Explain it.
Any new development would not be required to provide
No,
parking.
not required, but if I were a developer and I were putting in housing on Main Street and I knew that there was a limited amount of public parking that was, yes, available to me, but not a guarantee that somebody would find a parking space, I might consider putting in parking.
Yes,
So it's not,
you might.
it's not saying that new parking capacity put in by a private developer is off the table.
Wouldn't happen. We just can't require it.
Right. You can't require it, but, if a developer sees a need to meet the demand of whatever they're developing, then,
I would believe that if someone is building, say, a living complex and stuff, they're going to provide garages of some kind with the facility. If you just look on Main Street, you've got those 4 new units that went in. There's a garage for each one of them off the street. People aren't going to move into places with their cars outside and everything else.
well, and a garage is something that can happen in the floodplain.
Yes, which is already.
Madam Chair, one more unintended consequence, then any redevelopment would no longer trigger the 9-space site plan review. So there's no corresponding requirement for site plan review. That would the requirement in the parking ordinance that says 9 spaces triggers the requirement for site plan review,
Yeah.
there would those events would no longer trigger the site plan review. So there is no longer,
area.
so
I'll disagree
I
there.
think there's lots,
Carl, the site plan review for the 10, it's 10 spaces unless you guys have changed it.
It's 10, yeah.
It's 10.
it's greater than 9. That's what
If someone comes
that's
in,
what I said.
if someone comes in for a proposal to change, and they're increasing, that requires 10, it's still in your bylaws, they still have to come before you.
Except,
I think
You did not
except,
eliminate it.
I think he's saying that if somebody is relying on public on-street parking in lieu of on-site parking,
But they still-
that
They won't design
they
it.
could
Yes.
get out of doing site plan review, but
I don't
from
think
that.
they can do, they still have to do site plan review because they trigger the 10. It's not removed.
no, they don't, they wouldn't, there's no calculation ever again for them, the way this bylaw, the way I read the bylaw, I'm sorry, would never, ever trigger the requirement for parking spaces. Therefore, there would never be a calculation of the required parking based on occupancy.
Then I would suggest,
Because
I would suggest the planning board go back and redo their bylaw to eliminate it, because it's on the books, it's not changing.
We're working on that.
I know you are.
but that's what I'm saying, we have to get all these things done in order and together. I don't,
It's not my job, Carl, to rewrite your whole, zoning bylaw, Carl.
I understand that, it's not your job, but we don't want to add new bylaws that make the whole mess worse.
This was supposed to be done last fall. The only reason I'm here is Josh has been overworked and hadn't had time, and I told him I would do this one piece. It's up to this board here to do the rest of it. Thank you. Sorry to be contentious, but I'm trying to do something good for the town, not bad.
We can respectfully disagree whether this change is good for the town.
Yes, we can.
Josh, where do we need to, we need to set a schedule for a public hearing?
Yeah, if this is gonna go to town meeting, we have to have a public hearing, you guys have to make a recommendation prior to.
What's the timing on that? I thought that the warrant had closed.
It went in time.
You can still have a hearing.
Yeah.
Okay,
You guys can make your recommendation all the way up until town
Town-
meeting.
the night of town meeting,
Well,
before
did-
the town
We did
meeting
it last,
opens.
we did it
Yes,
last
yes.
spring.
We've done that before, yes, we know. Okay, so we need to schedule a public hearing then.
That's the rule.
What does the timeline look like for that? Town meeting is in April,
27th?
so this is town meeting.
I would
27th,
probably
right?
just start the motions to get it at, the next available public hearing.
Yeah, so
Just so we're not,
we have to advertise 2 weeks in advance, so we're too late to advertise for the 23rd.
Right.
So
And
the
we're
next,
too late to advertise for the 6th, so we'll have to have a special,
well, the
meeting.
6th is not a meeting, the 13th is a meeting.
oh, it's the 13th, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I miscounted. Thank you, we could make the 13th.
Yeah. And then town meeting is 2 weeks after that. We haven't
Yeah,
talked about what's
we-
happening with our meeting.
If
but-
it's posted, we could do the public hearing on the 13th. I
Yeah.
miscounted, I thought it was the 6th.
Yep, yeah, sure.
I have a question. Do you need me for the public hearing? Being on the chair, clerk of the finance committee, I'm supposed to be over there right now. We're meeting every Monday at the same time you're meeting.
Well, we'll try and get you out of here quickly. As the proponent of the article, it
I'm sure I have to be. I just want to let you know.
probably makes sense to be here
Yep,
for the public hearing, I would think,
I hope so.
so.
Put you on, put them on first.
Yeah.
I'd appreciate that.
What time does the meeting start?
For that.
Finance committees actually start at 6 o'clock. I got to run over there now.
Okay, see you later, bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Even you,
Well, good night, Alan.
Take care, Kyle.
You need a motion on that?
Uh,
I don't think so.
no,
No.
no, we're just
preliminary business.
Yeah.
headed to our public hearing. Okay. Next item, Preliminary subdivision submission, Broad Cove Path.
Madam Chair, for the record, Bob Rogers, GAF Engineering, on behalf of the Buzzards Bay Coalition. So in order to get on the agenda tonight, I submitted our preliminary subdivision to Josh in the office last week. I posted the Form B application online. So we're here tonight just to meet the requirement that a subdivision is filed at a regular meeting of the planning board. So I don't want to present tonight because we're going to have an advertised public hearing. I'm sorry, we're going to have an advertised public meeting, not a hearing, which would be your choice of either in 2 weeks or April 13th. Tomorrow, we'll make the filing with the town clerk, and we'll submit a copy to the Board of Health. What this process does is it just preserves everyone's 45 days to make the decision. You know, there's an alternative of submitting by registered mail to the town clerk, but if I had done that last week, then you would have already lost a week from your 45 days. So I could say that there is no construction proposed as part of this subdivision. What it does is it takes the existing large lot, I think it's 1010A, so there's already a conservation easement restriction on the cranberry bogs. So what we're doing with this subdivision of land is we're separating the existing single-family house from the conservation restricted easement for the cranberry bogs. And so, you know, just to, I guess, my own opinion would be that we could, if Josh could submit the ad to the Wareham Week this Thursday, then it would come out a week from Thursday, and so we could have the public meeting, if you agreed, on the 23rd. Or we could just, it's up to you. There's no statutory requirement that I saw for the, because it's just a public meeting. And once we get to the definitive, then it'll be a hearing, and we'll do the 300-foot of butters and all that. But at the end of the day, there's no new homes created from this. It just allows the existing single-family house at 22 Long Neck Road to be separated and unencumbered. It could be sold without the encumbrance of the conservation easement.
Sure.
Yep, understood. I know the property, so, yeah, I think that we could. It's getting full. You'd be the last. We've already got 3 projects that night, but I think that we could probably fit it in on the 23rd. What do you think? Anybody else
I think we could do
sure
it.
about it? All right.
Again, it's preliminary subdivision.
Yeah, yep. So I would entertain, does the 23rd work for you?
Yes, certainly.
And you laid out how the advertising would work. Josh, do you see any concerns with that? Okay,
Fine.
okay.
So, again, we're just submitting, and so you're just authorizing Josh to put an ad in and to hold a public meeting on the 23rd.
Yeah. I suppose
So-
I should, just to be belt and suspenders, take a vote to meet on the 23rd for it?
A motion?
Sure.
Motion?
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Mike Baptiste, aye.
Julie Moran, aye.
Sam Corbett, aye.
Carl?
Aye.
And chair votes aye, so we'll see you on the 23rd.
Great, thank you so much. So I'll just touch base with you tomorrow.
Yeah, please. Okay, see you tomorrow.
Item 5, under preliminary business, Maritime Haven. Do I have another? Sorry, extension request and sequencing.
Good evening, Attorney Tom Gay. I present the developer Maritime Haven, which is now under Haven Court. With me is the developer Lou Calcagni. I do have some additional information just to kind of help the discussion. I have packets for everyone. I passed those.
Absolutely.
So I won't be able to see those packets.
Yeah, has the material in the packets been submitted and is it available online?
One of the packets is just the decision history, so that would be in the town's records. The other is just kind of an Excel, so when we talk through the sequencing, it's a little easier to follow, but I can walk through that easily, and I can forward a copy to Josh. We kind of figured this would be a helpful tool for the board to have in front of them.
Okay.
Josh, I know this was a couple of years ago, does this actually have a number? The planning
Yeah, I
board
was trying to
number?
find it too.
Do you know, Josh? Was it tough to
It'd
find
be an
it?
old number.
An old number?
It was a couple of years ago.
Yeah, just 2 years ago.
Jolie, I will dig the number up and send it out.
Okay, yeah, I couldn't find it.
That
It
new
was tough to
number,
find.
that numbering system that is
Yes.
impossible to navigate.
Yes.
We definitely, Attorney Gay and the developer, we spent months and months and months going through this subdivision.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's on the property of the old,
Monastery.
Robin Wood
Monastery,
Road,
yeah.
is it Carl Robin Hood Road?
yes,
probably under?
Robin Wood.
I tried
yes.
Robin Wood and I just
yeah,
didn't have the numbers, so, okay,
yeah.
thank you.
Carl, I just sent you a couple pictures.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you. All right.
So I know Carl, Sam, and Michael were on the board back when this project came through. This project was originally approved by the planning board back in 2022. There was an appeal filed by an abutter, which took some time to litigate and ultimately settle. That settlement happened in about March of 2024. Then we had to come back to the board for them to kind of reissue the decision. A couple of things changed in the settlement agreement, and ultimately the town clerk signed the decision of no appeal in April of 2024. So the purpose of tonight's meeting is kind of two things. One is requesting an extension of the permit. The permit was good for 2 years, so based on when the clerk signed it on April 1st of 2024, that would kind of toll out in April of 2026. There was a moratorium in there due to COVID and a Permit Extension Act, but even with that, we're still at that April 1st of 2026 date. With the appeal and other things kind of happening in kind of the market and everything, the construction didn't happen immediately. The new entity, Haven Court, recently acquired the project from the original developers, and they've been hard at work with getting, the contractors lined up for the sewer extension and everything over to the property. So we're hoping that the timeline that's provided is a realistic timeline, and shovels will start getting in the ground and substantial commencement of the permit will begin. But we did just want to get it to the board to seek that extension. So what I provided, the big packet is just kind of a history of the project. It has the dates on when it was initially approved and when the town clerk signed it. And then I just didn't know if you'd have the whole file handy, so I wanted you to have the Form C and Form F, the covenants
That's
and the decision.
appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah,
So the first thing I was going to address with the extension is if you look at the Form C, if substantial completion is under Section 4, or construction permitted by this approval has not commenced within 2 years from the date of which a copy of the decision is filed with the town clerk, excluding the appeal period, then it would expire. So that's one of the conditions that we'd be asking the board to extend that so that the developer can move forward with the project. The other part of it has to do with the sequencing. So the sequencing aspect, we provided you kind of with an Excel sheet and then a map that is showing kind of the phases of the property. This subdivision is kind of unique, where three of the seven lots have frontage on Robinwood. Those are lots 48, 49, and 54. Those lots, per the decision, all need to be serviced by municipal water and municipal sewer, which will be brought over to the site. So what we're asking to do from a sequencing standpoint is to be able to begin construction on those lots, which would be 48, 49, and 54, kind of consecutively with bringing over the sewer and water infrastructure. The decision still would have the parameters that those lots have to be serviced by those municipal utilities, so any occupancy permit for those dwellings wouldn't be able to be issued until sewer was brought over to the site. The reason
Madam
we're-
Chair, excuse me if I might interrupt. I'm sorry, Mr. Dick. Josh is still showing the previous project. Yeah, thank you. I couldn't see the presenter. I couldn't see anything but the previous project. Thank you.
You're welcome. So the idea of the phasing, if you're looking at the maps that we provided, the plans we provided, the top left corner shows phase 1, and it identifies lots 48, 49, and 53. So the developer would be asking would be able to commence constructions and the site work on those properties to help kind of streamline the process of getting the utilities and infrastructure over there, and any occupancy permits with respect to those properties would have to be held up until the sewer infrastructure is brought over to the site anyway. The next phase, or phase 2, is what we're kind of showing is the sewer infrastructure and water infrastructure being brought to those properties, as well as the new private way. The bottom third picture and the bottom left is what we would consider phase 3, and that's we have construction on the lots fronting Robinwood Road, and at that time, the new private way would kind of start construction with the utilities within that new cul-de-sac. The last phase would be once the road has been completed, or at least a binder coat down and the infrastructure within it, construction on the remaining 4 lots, which have the frontage on the new way, would begin, and sales could commence on those properties. So a lot of the times the planning boards, the covenants are meant to kind of protect the town from someone coming in and building and not completing the project as approved. Here, with the requirement of the sewer, we have no ability to sell or convey these properties until sewer is brought to the site. So with respect to the lots on Robinwood Road, the idea would be that a big portion of this project is getting the sewer over there from out on, what's that road? Where's it come? Forest Street. So the original covenant had a restriction that lot 48, which is, I believe, the top left lot, which is identified as lot 1, could not be transferred or sold until the way was substantially completed. And I think that was a way of trying to have some collateral on the project, that lot would be kind of held until the way is completed. But from a sequencing standpoint and a financing standpoint, with kind of how the market is and everything is today, and the costs of the sewer infrastructure, everything has skyrocketed since 2022. The hope was to adopt this phasing to facilitate kind of the low-hanging fruit of the lots along front on Robinwood, where they can get the infrastructure there and then commence the private way, and all of that would be tied up by the construction of the cul-de-sac. No occupancy permits would be able to issue on the cul-de-sac lots until the way would be constructed, because you would have to have frontage there, and the water and sewer would have to be installed on the property to get those occupancy permits. So under the subdivision control law, other than the covenants, there's ability for the town to have essentially other collateral to make sure that the project is completed. And our presentation to you would be that the collateral, that would be the holding of those occupancy permits on those parcels on the front and as well as the back of the road.
Madam Chair, just a comment for discussion. I understand what the applicant is proposing. I point out the problem that we've had with the construction of a subdivision in the past in phases and managing the bonds and releasing the bonds. And so I think we need, I understand, I don't dispute what the applicant's trying to do. I just think we need to sit down and think through how we bond this for phases, and clearly, because that was not the way it was originally bonded. And we would have to restructure all of that. So that's a comment. And my question to you, or through you to Josh, is does restructuring the phasing of the construction and completing the road in phases represent a modification to the plan? I think potentially it represents a change, a modification to the plan. It's a question, though.
Yeah, I don't know about a modification to the plan. Nothing substantially changes from the plan itself. The subdivision road is still in the exact same place. Utilities aren't changing either.
But how do we change the bond structure then? And the plan did not propose building the road in phases. That's what I see. While the layout isn't changing, the construction plan is changing. So we have other subdivisions which we've proceeded in phases, and the developers were allowed to complete road segments and declare that segment complete, and then we would release the covenant on the property so that they could begin building. But that's a complicated structure that we need, and I'm not saying we can't or shouldn't do it. I just think we need to think through how we do it and learn from all of the problems we had with other phased subdivision construction plans, which were originally even proposed as phases.
So,
And each of those phases represented a modification to the overall plan.
Well, is the road actually phased? It is a phase that the road gets
No,
built.
as I understood the presentation, the road will not be constructed and the sewers and all of that will not be completely constructed. And if I misheard, that's why we're asking questions.
yeah.
The road will not be completely constructed before they want to begin releasing lot covenants.
Right, there are 3 lots that are right on Robin Road that they want to build first, and they meet zoning. They happen to be part of this subdivision, which is
Which
irrefutable.
then, if you want to separate it out, that's a modification to the plan. So right now, I feel that we need to restructure the covenant and consider whether, and I'm requesting that we consider whether this represents a modification to the plan in order to get the covenants and the bonds properly aligned.
So those 3 lots could technically be A&Rs.
Right.
Not right now, they can't.
'cause
No, I
part of it-
understand that. It would mean some reworking of, and I don't know how that would work either. That's another
That would be a major,
restructuring of the
that would
whole
be a,
thing.
that would be a major
Major
modification to the
modification.
subdivision
Yeah,
plan.
agreed.
Yeah,
But it, I don't know, maybe it's a clearer way of doing what you're trying to do. I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
if I may, so from the phasing or the modification part, so we're not modifying the plan or any of the utilities or any infrastructure or anything that was
The
approved
sequencing.
or the conditions. It's when you look at Form F of the covenant, which Carl had mentioned, kind of bonding or collateral or security, whatever phrase you want to provide here, the covenant that kind of restricted this approach is number 2, states that the undersigned will not sell or convey lot 48, which if you're looking at the plan, lot 48 is kind of the top left one on Robinwood, or erect or place any permanent building on any lot until the construction of the ways and installation of municipal services necessary to adequately serve such lot has been completed. So the reason,
And just to clarify, that said any lot, is that correct? Every lot in the subdivision is subject to that restriction.
on any lot. So, yes, so it's,
So even the one in the corner was a special case. All the lots are subject to the subdivision, because we don't have anything to do with the construction of the lots. Once you get a release of the covenant on the road, you can begin building. So we don't have any bonding. And your point in the beginning was the whole purpose of that covenant is to ensure that the road gets built as designed and completed. So technically, what could happen, you could build and sell the first 4 houses, or whatever phase
Just
1
3.
was. I think it was
3
4 houses.
Yeah.
Whatever phase 1 was. And the market could change completely, and you could decide never to build the remaining houses or complete the road for that subdivision under the way you're proposing to phase it and changing the covenant. And maybe that's an okay thing to do, but that's a big change. And I'm not even saying I don't agree with it. I'm just saying everybody on the board knows I'm a process guy, and I also have been deeply involved with a phased subdivision development that is personally painful to me. And I just want to make sure we can manage it and we understand all the things we're doing. That's my feedback to you and the board.
so with
I'm only
that,
one.
what our hope was, so if we're looking at Form F in the covenant, the modification that we'd be, or the change to that, what we'd be asking for would be for the ability to erect and construct homes on those identified lots where an occupancy permit would not be released until the sewer and water infrastructure is brought to the site, which would be these 3 home sites and the beginning of the new way. The balance of those lots, the balance of those 4 lots would be tied to the construction of the way because their frontage is on the way. So those could never be sold without that ultimate construction. If the
So
board is looking for.
Okay, I've made my point. I believe this is a change to the modification, a change to the plan to change the covenant. To change the covenant for the approved subdivision is a modification to the plan, I believe. Josh, I'd like you to check me on that. I don't know how else we could change the covenant.
Yeah, particularly that item 2 in the covenant
So,
about lot 48.
not to interject, so if you go to within the same document, if you go to number 10, it says, "Nothing herein shall prohibit the applicant from varying the method of securing the construction of the ways and installation of municipal services from time to time, or from securing by one or in a part by one and another, any methods described in Chapter 41, Section 81U, as long as such security is sufficient, in the opinion of the planning board, to secure performance and construction of the way." So that's giving the board kind of the mechanism to say, okay, we initially came up with item 4 as what we needed for security based on a reasonable proposal from the developer. This has given you some framework to modify that security, where we're not modifying the project or modifying any of the conditions of the project. We're just modifying the security that is in that covenant. So under 81, there's sometimes projects are bonded, sometimes there's lot releases and phases. So that's kind of what we're talking about doing, is where the lots would be released as certain milestones are met. So none of the lots would be released until the sewer and water infrastructure are brought to the property.
But not the completion of the subdivision road. So all I'm saying, my feedback is, this is, and please, you explain very clearly. I understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. Then we need to work to establish a bond in order to ensure the completion of the road at this time, which we normally wouldn't trigger that bond until you want to start releasing lots. So then we need a peer review to get a complete estimate of the value of the bond. You're right, there is a straightforward process. So if you want to release lots before completion of the construction, that there is a process for doing it, but that is putting up a bond for the remaining value of the construction of the subdivision roadway. And that needs to be estimated. This is a standard thing we do in subdivisions.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this item
Because
10.
it includes the
seems
entire subdivision. These three front on Robbinswood, so potentially there's a curb cut, but it leaves this, so you still have to address
Right, they're
that.
getting their frontage
Yeah,
from
curb
this
cut.
anyway,
Yeah.
and
But we're
and-
still.
That's
left
not
with
what, that's still not what the subdivision isn't looking at that. The subdivision is
understand.
about the road for the
Yep.
subdivision.
Exactly.
It's not about the lots. It's
Yep.
not about the houses built on the lots. The subdivision plan is to ensure that the road and the sewer and the utilities are constructed.
Agreed.
Right,
And
Through you to Carl, for kind of the lot release structure and bonding, a thought would be, we have 3 lots that have frontage on Robinwood Road. A large portion of the project cost is bringing the sewer to the site. If we, using the word phasing, attach lots 1 and 2, which are going to be to the left of the way, to the sewer infrastructure, because we wouldn't have an occupancy permit or lease, and then the lot to the south of it, which would be lot 7.
I
maybe tie
support
that to the
your
completion of the
idea.
way.
What I said is we need now an independent review of your plan and what is the cost of the remaining construction that needs to be bonded. So you're right. There's a cost of the project to bring the sewer to the site. That's a major part.
Quotes on the road.
And if we say that it doesn't start until the sewer and utilities are brought to the front of the site, then we need a calculation of the remaining cost to complete the subdivision road, and that's what needs to get bonded. And this is the first time we've heard your presentation, and there's a lot more thought that needs to go into it, but I'm supporting your project.
Conceptually.
I'm supporting your idea.
Yep.
I'm just saying, these are the things we need to do, and I'm just coming up with it, having read what I got. These are the things we need to do to make sure it happens in the right way.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I fully support. I fully supported. I voted for the subdivision. I know what you're trying to do. I understand why it's delayed. So I'm in favor of extending your subdivision plan. But you then tied extending the subdivision plan to beginning to release lots under a different schedule, and we could even stop using your phased language, even though it makes sense, and say, okay, if you want to release those 3 lots,
Unless we vote on
Condition.
that right
we
now.
need a bond at that point
Condition it,
to secure the remaining construction.
the amount for the bond.
Josh, I believe that's the subdivision. We release lots for uncompleted. We
Yeah.
just need to bond out the work for completing the road work.
Yeah, historically, the applicant would come forward with a bond amount, and we would have Allen and Majors review it.
So in terms of process, you're asking for an extension for the subdivision, which expires in April of this year, so next month.
And they could ask for that and not even talk about any of these other changes. We could
Well, that's what-
separate
that's
those
what I'm
two.
wondering. I'm curious about whether whether the clock has stopped on that because you've made the application and the request. And we could actually continue this conversation and square away a new structure with the bonds and the covenant and any changes that need to
No.
happen in that regard before.
We have to formally vote to extend the plan, the subdivision.
So through you, Madam Chair, if the board is looking to have some more information on the bonding and the collateral aspect of it, I think we can get cost estimates on the construction of the infrastructure costs and get that to the board for their consideration. I understand you have a peer reviewer or someone else that will look
Yeah.
at that, but we can maybe make a proposal. In my experience, sometimes there's a combination of whether it's a bond or it's just attached to the lot. Sometimes some municipalities will just lock up, lots 4 or 5 lots and release them over time comparatively in value. Obviously, these are all waterfront or water view lots, so the value of each one of these lots is significant. So if you
Yeah.
were to tie up a lot here, it's
Yeah,
probably more than the cost of the road, but we can get you that data. But what I would ask, just from, more of an abundance of caution, if the board would entertain voting on the extension of the permit.
Well, that's-
So
yeah.
we can have that done, that will, make everyone
And make
feel
it
more
That's
comfortable.
precisely my question,
think-
is whether we need to provide that extension before the April
First.
Yes, I would-
deadline, or, okay.
I would
And
feel
then we could
more
condition it.
And then
comfortable
we,
with that.
right, and then we can
Okay.
work out the details. Okay.
Does that make sense, Josh?
Yeah.
I didn't
I
know.
would
if-
definitely act on the extension.
Okay, I just didn't know if the clock stopped with the request for it.
And then maybe like a
and we will-
conditional approval of like a
okay.
phasing subject to your peer review and additional information from the developer on the costs.
Yeah,
So if we
yeah.
could have that, and then we can get that information to you for it to be confirmed, but at least we'd have the approval and everyone kind of be on the same page of moving forward with the bonding and collateral aspect of it.
Madam Chair, if I could ask that you separate that into 2 votes,
Yeah.
or not even take up the issue of,
We don't have to.
I don't think we have to take up the second part. You could come back and
no.
say, okay,
It's just the
we
extension at
want to
this point.
release. Yeah, I mean,
Just
they
the
can come back and say, we want to release these 3 lots. And Mr. Turner won't give them a building permit until we give them a release, and there's a process. And Attorney Gay is correct. It's not necessarily a bond. I believe there are 3 options in the law. And actually, I'm not certain that they don't get to pick. I don't remember.
They get to present.
Security, you're talking about the security, Carl? That's right, there are 3.
Yes.
Yes.
So are you saying that we don't, or we do vote on releasing the 3 lots right now?
No, well, I'm not
No, I don't
ready.
think so
That-
either. I think
no.
the whole structure needs to be reconsidered and pinned down before we do that. And I think
Right,
right now,
because-
the only vote is to
Extend.
grant the extension to April of 2028.
Which is what I was recommending and I support.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, agreed.
So I
And we
would,
can continue to work with the applicant to figure this other stuff out.
absolutely, right, right.
Well, and Carl, if we are looking at peer review, we have a 53G request as well.
Yeah, that was my next question. Is there a 53G account
yeah, you-
still in effect that is funded at all?
They have one, and there's somewhere near $850 in it.
Okay, so probably would need to
Need to
be funded further.
Juice that up a bit, yes, yeah.
Yeah, but we don't even have to do that tonight. They can work with
No.
Josh.
Yeah,
and-
agreed.
right.
I just wanted to
Right.
raise it, Carl, to make sure that we bring that into the
Yep.
discussion
Right.
afterwards. Yep.
Make a motion, we approve the extension.
Until,
Second.
It's automatically 2 years, I think, right?
Yes.
is there someone with a hand raised?
Might be me.
No,
Yes, it was me.
it was someone else as well.
There is someone
Oh.
else. Sure.
No. They're in the middle of a motion. You can't let them in.
We are in the middle of a motion.
We've been through this, we've gone to legal, we have to take the vote.
Okay, well, we'll finish the vote and hear from this person.
If you'd like. Extension only, right?
Extension
That's all
only.
we're doing.
Yes.
Yep, and did you give a date?
It's 2 years.
Yes.
That's automatic.
I don't know what it is. The law says what it is.
And the bylaws say what it is, 2 years.
2
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
So April 2028. All in favor?
Mike Baptiste, aye.
Julie Marie and I.
Sam Corbett, aye.
Carl?
Aye.
And chair votes
And we're
aye.
only voting on the extension to April of 2020.
That's
That
correct.
is correct.
Madam Chair, you have that.
Yep, yep. Ms. Aaron?
Can she hear us? Would you like to address the board?
Hello, hello. Marlene Aaron?
Are you muted?
Yeah, it appears she's, now she's gone.
She's gone.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
So we can, I can draft a letter to Josh with some additional information, the construction costs. Maybe we'll have some value on what the proposed lot value is
Okay.
as, a form of collateral, because I believe under the statute, we could utilize the value of lots as part of it instead of a performance bond. And I can get that to Josh for your consideration. And maybe I'll propose language to make it as easy as possible for the board.
yeah, and
Does that-
we'll get Ellen and Major to have a look at this and see what their thoughts are on how long it would take.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Just when I look at it, just so the applicant understands, we need a detailed cost breakdown of every aspect of building the road, and we have a standard construction. It's not just we guess. You have to go get estimates of binder, how much the top coat's going to cost, how much the asphalt's going to cost, what the grading's going to cost, what the gravel's going to cost, the curbing.
cost
Complete
It's a
construction.
detailed cost. Yeah, it's a construction cost for the road. And it's a line item because we really can evaluate to help you reducing it as you complete a line item. So as you complete the grading, there's a value associated to that cost. You could come forward and say, I want to release this amount. And that's useful if you have a bond. If you come up with some other structure, I don't know. But we can release it in piece parts. And by the way, we have in the bylaw, there is a cost, a contingency fee. I don't remember if it's 15 or 25%. And we've had some discussion about how that gets released. And I want to be clear. My position has been that the cost uplift is a single item and not applied and released line item by line item.
So
But that's stuff we need to work out with the applicant.
prorated?
We can work that out.
Yeah, we can work that, that's a
Yeah,
detail
no, but
that
I'm
we can
just
work out, yeah.
letting the applicant know that if they
What we'll be
come with
looking for.
something
He understands.
less than that, I'm gonna raise the same questions again.
And given I couldn't find this file with the address, is there an HOA recorded, do you know?
That hasn't got to that point yet.
Okay.
No.
But it was a requirement.
Yes,
Julie, if I
so-
remember this.
Correct.
It
We
was,
would definitely like understanding that this road will always be a private way. Your hope of ever having the town accept it is
It's
never.
slim to none.
So a strong HOA we've found is really
All
important.
those poor roads, the plows went by and stranded those people.
Yeah, I know, as someone who was stranded all the last week, so.
And I'm going to pick up on
Thanks.
something that I missed. Could you state your name for the record and spell it, please?
Louis Calcagni, Louis, Calcagni, Calcagni.
Thank you. Sorry about
Okay.
that.
Got
It
it.
was an oversight.
Okay,
We're done.
I think we're done.
Thank you. Thank you for your time tonight.
thank you.
Thank you, Josh.
We did not set a date to see you back, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll get that information
Get
to
the
you, and I'll get a letter
The
to Josh.
variables here that
Yep.
timing is hard to predict.
Nope, completely understand. Thank you.
I'm gonna forward you one that they previously approved, so you have an idea what they're looking for.
Next item, item 6 under preliminary business, A&R 0 Plymouth Road, AD Makepeace.
While we're waiting for the applicant, Madam Chair, could one of you just hold the package from the last applicant for me, so when I get back, I can get it from Josh or somebody?
Yes.
My copy of the packet.
Yep. Good evening.
Good evening.
If you could both state your name and spell it for the record.
My name's Kenneth Conti,
Thank
Kennethconte, professional land surveyor with Beals and Thomas, here tonight on behalf of AD Makepeace.
Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the board.
Oh, your mic, if you could just turn it, there you go.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Doug Radigan. I'm outside counsel from Prince Bell in Worcester, Massachusetts, for the applicant AD Makepeace. Radigan is Radigan.
Thank you. And, yeah, good. So we've got new packets in front of us. Do you
Yes,
want
this is a plan submitted under the approval not required regulation, Form A application. We have a property that consists of existing 5 assessors parcels. And what we are doing is more or less amalgamating them and separating out a couple of small, 2 small parcels for some internal maintenance with Makepeace's properties. What we've changed on this plan from previously plans submitted was that we've created what we would call a snake-like lot that provides frontage on Maple Springs Road through a 30-foot wide strip that leads back to the 2 parcels at the rear of the property. Again, all the properties have frontage along Maple Springs Road, and access is provided through an access easement, again, off of Maple Springs, that shows up on the plans as requested. Previously, we have provided copies of all the easement documents that were recorded at the Plymouth Registry of Deeds in the Land Court section. We've also updated our plans with a locus map, meeting the requirements of 1 inch equals 2,000 scale. And all the lots have adequate area as well. All the lots are in excess of 10 acres.
Madam Chair, the only thing else I would add is, like our last plan that was considered by this board, this plan also identifies parcels not to be considered separate buildable lots. That was subject to a previous peer review by A&M, who agreed with my prior legal opinion that when you create parcels that are not meant to be buildable lots, then it doesn't meet the statutory requirements of the subdivision rules. And, you know, I think we've prominently displayed that on this A&R plan, that this is not meant to be an endorsement, that these lots are for any reasons other than for AD Makepeace's internal record keeping and organizing their land. Thank you.
If I may.
Madam Chair, through you to the applicant, I apologize, I don't have the plan in front of me, I did look at it. Can you confirm that the language for not buildable is our standard language and you didn't carve out an exclusion for solar? Because is that correct? Our standard language calls for marking it as non-buildable and does not consider the applicant adding additional language or caveats. Non-buildable is non-buildable, I think, under the subdivision law. Or, excuse me, under our bylaws and subdivision rules and regs.
Madam
So
Chair.
I just wanted,
So through the chair, I think the language is carried over from the same parcel as was subject to the peer review, and it's exactly the same with respect to what we had submitted previously and what the peer review had said comported with the town's bylaw standards.
and I can respectfully disagree. I did respectfully disagree with them. And I have requested advice of counsel and gotten none, so I have to vote my conscience. So I believe that stamp and that language, thank you for doing all the other things. Thank you. I recognize that you did that, and I appreciate that. But I'm still troubled by the applicant adding because right now you said solar. You could have said anything. And construction of solar is building, in my opinion. And I appreciate Attorney Radigan. I am not the attorney. I try to look at the case law, but I believe that carving out that exception makes it not an A&R.
Through the chair, I can't speak for town, I can only represent to this board. I spoke to town
No,
council, and they had no issues with this plan. The peer review had no issues with this plan. This doesn't even require respectfully a public hearing, so we're going through the A&R process. So we'd ask for a vote.
Thank you. Madam Chair, I appreciate, I gave the applicant my opinion so that I'm not being arbitrary and capricious. I'm approaching this thoughtfully. I can be wrong, but I'm approaching it thoughtfully, and I've given you my input. So you could call for a vote.
I have a similar question. For the purpose of supporting a solar facility, putting aside agricultural, very familiar with the statute, couldn't that cover solar array, BESS system? What does supporting, why, I guess my question is, why, you have roads, you have other parcels that you could construct solar on. Why the term supporting a solar facility? What is your definition of that?
We're not proposing anything by these plans.
We would have to come back to this board. An approval of an A&R plan does nothing with respect to a solar facility. It's the language Beals and Thomas has carried through their plans. It's the language that has been reviewed by peer review. It's been reviewed by town council. I appreciate that town council's not here to put the opinion on that he shared with me, but that's where we are. This is well beyond the purview of what this board should be considering for an A&R plan, respectfully, Madam Chair.
And thank you, Attorney Ray. I just also want to let you know, the town attorney has not shared his opinion with me, so I don't know what he said to you. And I'm in the dark, so I appreciate that.
Mike or Sam? Anything?
Not at this time.
Josh?
I'm trying to pull up your subdivision rules and regs right now to answer a question that I have, but my connection isn't great.
I have a paper copy if you want it.
It might work. I'll give this one just a minute or two more.
Is it section 590, Josh, that you're looking for with respects to how solar's defined?
No, I'm actually looking at our subdivision rules and regulations.
Yeah, not the zoning
This is
bylaw.
a separate document from our zoning bylaw.
Madam Chair, while Josh is looking that up just for
Yes.
discussion and Attorney Radigan can weigh in, I think this is guided by the Massachusetts general law, which broadly describes a solar facility to include large-scale battery, standalone battery, solar panels. All of that has been clarified, I think, by the state and I forget the Mass general law.
48, 48 section.
40,
48 section 9, I believe.
yes, but it's clear that they broadly and clearly identified what solar means. And it includes panels, it includes associated battery storage, it includes standalone battery storage, all under the definition of solar. I believe that's been settled.
Yeah, 48.
So that's
section
just
3.
discussion.
Section 3.
Yeah, that's discussion. So that was just for, while we're waiting for Josh. And I apologize to the board and the applicants that I am traveling, but I'm on vacation, so I don't have all of my resources at hand. So where I can't always quote,
So,
I apologize for my inability.
no, you have vast knowledge. I think, Josh, I don't think that solar is in the subdivision because it's considered a land use and not a subdivision issue. So I don't think it exists anywhere in your,
I wasn't looking up solar. I
I
actually
guess
wasn't
I
looking.
shouldn't guess at what you're looking up then.
Sorry, I wasn't looking up anything related to solar. Actually, I'm not seeing an answer to my question at all. If you want to not wait for me, that's fine. Do we go to a vote?
I mean, I'm sorry, it's not a, that's,
Yeah, I just,
I may be wrong. I've been here for 7 years. Never seen anything like this. I don't think it makes. I'm sorry. Been here 7 years, never seen anything like it. We've had others that have tried, we've had roads repaired. It's just not any out of me. And I'm upset that council didn't get the information to us. They got it to the proponent.
and I just, again, my feeling is, under 48 section 3, very broadly defined solar is the new regs, the guidelines, which I'll talk about later. I went to the latest public information session, the end of this week is the final comment period, but it is, and we have found, we are solar farm veterans here, understand how broadly both the Attorney General and our courts have defined solar. And, you know, if everything taken out except for the purpose of, et cetera, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I just,
Yeah, it's that
and I'm new
carve
to the
out.
board, but I have never seen a
Except
carve-out
for-
like that. It's either non-buildable or buildable.
Yeah.
And I just, it's problematic, in my opinion.
Through the chair, if I can just make clear for the record, I'd like incorporated as part of our record, our prior communications and correspondences for a similar plan, which includes the comments from a peer review that we agreed to, my 12-4 correspondence, our February 18th correspondence. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Still looking.
So what else, Chair, Mr. Chair?
Josh, you need some more time, Josh?
To do what?
Right,
I don't think that there's a vote. You have 21 days to act on it. You can do what you'd like, but after 21 days, you either sign it or you don't sign it, or you reject it.
we can start to refute the criteria now. Criteria is A, B, and C for an A and R. So they've presented that they now have adequate frontage and that they have access through the deeds. By incorporating, I think it was an additional 2 lots, is that correct?
Correct.
Even though we've talked about the fact that their position is it's non-buildable, therefore subdivision doesn't apply.
We're under clock to do something.
What's that?
We're
So,
under-
Madam Chair,
Done, yeah.
Madam Chair, I move that we find A&R 0 Plymouth Road, 80 Makepeace as an A&R and not a subdivision under subdivision control law.
Have I got a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nay.
And I vote nay. And I'm going to explain my vote because I've asked repeatedly to be educated on this very point, and I have not succeeded in getting the education necessary to understand any further than I do.
Jane, did you vote?
No, I haven't voted yet.
So I wanted to explain my vote.
What's he doing?
I haven't voted yet. Do you want to explain it before I vote?
No, I
In the middle
explained
of
my
a
vote.
vote.
I think the vote has to be taken.
Point of order. We're in the middle of a vote. We've gone through council on this. We have to finish the vote before any other discussion takes place.
I wasn't asking for
It
discussion.
wasn't
I made my
discussion,
vote,
It was,
and I said, this is why I voted nay. Wasn't discussion, was substantiating my vote.
Thank you.
from what I see, I think I'm compelled, though I'm not happy about it, to say yay.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and members of the board for your time this evening. Thank you, Josh, for your time as well.
Josh, can you confirm how this works? Is it a simple majority?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's a simple majority.
Thank you.
Thank you. Excuse me.
Moving forward, continued public hearings. 1625, Plan 25-16, 370 County Road LLC, Site Plan Review and Special Permit, 370 County Road.
Mr. Chrysler is in attendance online.
Okay.
John, if you can promote him.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm sorry we couldn't be there. Should I state my name first? And
That would be good. And spell it, please, for our
Okay.
Scrivener.
yep, Eric Chrysler, spelled Ericchrysler. And I just wanted to apologize that we can't be present in person. The Zimmers are ill, and they got sick in the storm that came up recently for you guys, and I'm fighting something as well and opted not to travel. So, but I appreciate obviously being able to present in front of you this evening.
Well, thank you for even being on Zoom. Appreciate it. That's not an easy thing to do when you're under the weather. We've got conditions put together for this. I'm trying to recall where we left off, if we had any unresolved issues. I don't know of any.
I just for the benefit of the board, I think when we left our last public hearing on this one, there were two outstanding points to be made. One of them was the quantum of vote and where that landed
Correct.
with respect to it being repositioned or put back in front of the planning board. The opinion of both councils is that having it put back in front of the board would reset everyone's ability to vote, including members who were not present during the initial application period. So staff's recommendation is that there's the ability for all 5 members of the planning board to vote on this application. Additionally, the concern about the setback requirement was another question that came up.
Right.
What we were able to determine was that the application that sat before you was applied for July of 2023, and your new bylaw came in effect in October of 2023. The April 2022 bylaw had the statement of 50-foot setbacks.
Right. So we're good with the setbacks,
The vote, yep.
and I think we're good with the vote.
And they had submitted an HOA. I
Yeah.
had made some comments, I reviewed it, and the comments are there. I guess the only question,
Finding of fact.
yes, findings
Yeah,
of fact,
sorry,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
So, Madam, I'm sorry, Julie, you're still speaking.
One other question, relative to the surety bond for the Conservation Commission, I'd like to include that as a condition if we decide to approve this. We have to, the
I think you're
challenges.
confusing your two applications. This
Yeah,
is
we're
the
on-
solar
okay.
application.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
sorry, sorry.
yeah.
Solar.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I jumped ahead.
Easy
My,
to do.
I apologize, yes.
You had
yes.
me confused.
Yeah, sorry,
We're
sorry.
all going,
Daylight savings.
Madam Chair?
Yeah,
before
I've finished
we-
my comments.
before- Oh, I'm sorry, Julie, I thought you were done. Are you done?
I am done, yes, thank you.
Thank you. Madam Chair, before we take a vote or any further discussion, because we have gotten clarification that this is a new application,
Yep.
when we started this, I don't think we made a formal motion, and I would like to, for the record, that we include by reference all documents, all comment, all findings of fact, all conditions from the previous application for the record of this application. All documentation, so complete. I just want it that it's part of this record so that we can then reference it.
Yep.
Yep, seems appropriate.
Important.
That's a motion.
As far as construction is
Second.
concerned.
All in favor of that?
Mike Baptiste, aye.
Julie Moran, aye.
Sam Corbett, aye.
Carl?
Carl Schultz votes aye.
And chair votes aye. So, yes, we will proceed with that. So,
There's nothing left.
is there anything else that,
No.
before we vote?
Yes, Madam Chair, I have a question.
Yes.
What is the board, I don't want to say you, our process for assembling the finding of fact and the conditions for this application? Should it be approved? Or the findings of fact, if it's denied? How do we intend to do that? In the past, we had begun, are we just going to, how do you envision doing it? It's an open question.
How have we done it in the past?
We have a process that we instituted, and this was the previous application, but I don't know that we need to do that for this one. But I want to understand, are you going to separate it into two votes? A vote on the approval and then a vote on the conditions and the findings of fact as a separate vote at a time? I think we have 60 days to assemble it. Or are you going to look for both votes today?
I would think that we would approve it tonight and work on the conditions and findings of fact and vote on them at a later date.
Right.
We've got 60 days.
I think 60 days.
Yeah,
The
60
applicant has submitted some, and we want to review those.
Yeah.
And then we have some that Josh, I know, have all created in the past. So
So
if
we
we
could-
were to approve this.
We could take a vote tonight, and I would suggest that the motion to take the vote tonight hold out the conditions and findings of fact
That's what we
for a
always
later
do.
vote.
Subject to conditions.
Yeah.
We always do
yes.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. I just wanted to be clear. And just for the applicant's ease of mind, I'm not looking to substantially change. I'm not looking to substantially change anything from the previous conditions or findings of fact. There may be a couple of things. I mean, certainly the application has changed. That fact will change, and the size of the array. But that would be for discussion at this point, my input to my peer board members.
Okay. Well, I think we're probably ready to take a vote.
Does the board, or would the board prefer for me to discuss the points about the project that I believe or we believe are favorable for support? Or I went through that last time, or do most of you remember that? And how would you prefer I go about that?
Madam Chair, through you to the board, we have established a process where applicants and citizens can provide that very kind of comment in writing for our review. And I would suggest that that's a good way to do it, because then it's on the record.
Well, I gather that Mr. Chrysler is suggesting that what he's got to say may have some bearing on our vote. I also want to open this to the public if anybody.
Yeah, we have to close the public hearing before we take the vote.
Yeah.
So that's the other step. So however you want, I gave you my input.
So I'll let Mr. Chrysler speak, and then I'll let Eric come up and speak.
I simply wanted to affirm the positive attributes of the project and the fact that it's a project that's going to allow the Zimmers to keep their property, which will, in effect, create a sanctuary on the rest of their property, which will be in favor of reducing development cluster and such associated problems that Wareham has been feeling. I also think that, or I know that we've worked really diligently to lower the size of the system. It's become very small compared to where it was, and it really good way, and it's come down to, just under 6 acres, and on a 60-acre parcel. We've just addressed, the battery issue and removed those, and this is going to help the Zimmer family. So we're not a developer. We found ourselves here. We've only developed 3 or 4 projects in 20 years. So we have our hearts in the right place and for the community of Wareham or Wareham. And I just wanted to just affirm those things. That's all. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Mr. Wintle.
Eric Lintula, 15 Squirrel Island, West Wareham, Massachusetts. I've been involved with solar projects for several years now and have seen many projects come forward. And this project is the first that I can remember that actually worked with the citizens and a planning board in making changes that both sides could live with. The family gets to keep the land and develop the solar. It's good for the community, but specifically, I found a lot of pleasure in their talking with us and understanding our issues and our needs. And I thank Mr. Chrysler and the family also. And I think this project should be approved. And I hope future solar projects that come forward are willing to work with us and so they can see their projects go through, but there are a lot of issues and concerns that the town and the people have, and hopefully they will listen to us. So thank you.
Given the conversations we've had in the past, that your opinion that in that regard carries a lot of weight, at least for me. Thank you.
Agreed. Thank you.
Entertain a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
All in favor?
Mike Baptiste, aye.
Julie Moran, aye.
Sam Corbett, aye.
Carl?
Carl Schultz, aye.
And chair votes aye. So the public hearing is closed. And next is our vote to approve the project pending.
Disapprove.
Or disapprove. Well, no, it's to
Start with
approve.
approve.
You can disapprove by voting no. But to approve the project pending preparation of findings of fact and conditions.
Right.
I'd entertain a motion.
So moved?
Second.
All in favor?
Mike Baptiste, aye.
Julie Moran, aye.
I dislike solar. I think it's the wrong way to go. I think in long term it's going to hurt the country, the state, and Wareham. But I vote in favor of this one for all the reasons that Eric articulated.
Carl?
Aye.
And chair votes aye. So there's 500 in favor of the project. So we will continue our work on putting together the findings of fact and conditions, and we have, is it 60 days? Is that correct? So those will be put together in time for an upcoming meeting for us to vote on. So 60 days would take us, I think, to, I don't know exactly, but it would be somewhere around our May 11th.
Yep.
Yeah, and our schedules are getting later.
So we would need to do it before that.
May 8th, yeah.
May 8th? Yeah,
Uh,
makes sense. 31 days.
Yeah, okay, May
okay.
8th is, so we would need to vote on it by, the 27th of April is town meeting, is that correct?
Yes, Monday, the 27th.
It's that, and that's the night of our regular meeting, so
They have to schedule
We
it.
can meet prior to.
we could meet prior to,
Yeah.
just to
Which
vote.
is
Take a
worked
vote,
well.
yes.
Yeah.
Just worked well.
We've done it.
Yeah.
Do we
Okay.
want to, just for discussion, you want to plan on holding like an off-cycle meeting the week before? That would be the
20th.
20th?
Well, town meeting starts at 7.
Give you a
If we find a room and meet at 6, we could be done in plenty of time. I mean, that's my opinion.
Yeah, we could do that.
Depending on what the schedule looks like.
Yeah, the
What
other,
it's going to look like.
It's
the other
easy enough.
option is to put it on for the 13th of April.
I will say that your finding of fact is probably very similar to what you've already looked at.
Right.
Um,
And we've got conditions
had a
in
number
a
of
pretty good,
conditions previously with
Yeah, we
some,
almost have a template.
We do.
We've
right,
worked on for years.
right,
Right.
right. And, yeah, here it is.
Right.
We've got
So we
a
could-
pretty good template. So we could even
April.
aim for the 13th
Yeah.
of April. And that way, we've got a little bit more time to talk about it and won't be rushed.
Okay?
And if we want to, we can put it off and do it if,
An off-cycle meeting. Yeah. So I have no
Done.
problem with that.
let's aim for the 13th then.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you all. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you
Mayor,
for all your
too.
hard work.
Yes, thank you. Much appreciated. And
Been a pleasure working with you.
Yes.
You too, Sam.
I hope the Zimmermans are feeling better. Maybe some good news will help. So, moving along here. Next item under continued public hearings, item 3-25, Plan 25-4, Rick Valenti, 1031 Pierceville Road, definitive residential subdivision. Excuse me, tripping over things.
Now I'm back on track.
Yeah, now she can, right, we'll just
I was
back up the
skipping
tape.
Good evening, William Connolly, Zenith Consulting Engineers,
Good evening.
and that's Connelly.
Thank you.
So I believe since the last time we met, the HOA documents were revised and submitted, and I believe that was the only outstanding item. So if there's any additional questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
I think that is correct. Josh, was there anything else that we were missing? I don't think
so.
I think it was just the HOA.
I think the only, one of the conditions would be around the again, for the HOA, for the folks who become owners of these properties, is to basically have the bond comply with, held by a company that is licensed to do business in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Which would bring you under the statute. 20-year bond is what I know that conservation has required. So that would be just a condition that I would ask that we include.
That the bonding company.
The company is
be licensed in Massachusetts.
and it otherwise complies with mass law.
Anything else?
So I think we did hear some concern about bonding companies and their ability to bond for that large of a time.
Right.
Would you want to consider some standard language that you've included in a lot of your solar projects,
That it's
which is the 5-year
reviewed every
reopener?
5.
Yeah, yeah,
That probably makes sense.
yeah.
And for the board, that language looks something like after every 5 years, or prior to 5 years,
Expiration,
the expiration,
right.
the applicant needs to come before the board with a review of the bond and and update any items that are required and the fee associated with them.
That would go in the conditions.
That should be standard.
And the HOA would cover that because they'd have to comply with the conditions of the decision. Because this ultimately becomes an HOA issue.
The HOA is the carrier of the bond, right?
Ultimately,
Perpetuity.
yes. Once all the lots are released, yes. Yep. Okay.
Anybody else on the board? Let me ask Carl first. Carl, do you have anything that you want to add?
No, and I think for the record, I'm not eligible to vote on this per my discussion with Josh because there was a 6-week lapse in my membership on the board, even though I didn't miss any meetings.
Okay. We have members of the public here. Do you want to add anything new? No? Okay. So, I guess we're looking to
A motion.
close the public hearing.
Yes. Make motion, we close the public hearing.
Second,
All in favor?
Mike Baptiste, aye.
Julie Moran, aye.
Sam Corbett, aye.
Carl Schultz, aye.
Are you voting or not?
I said I could vote on closing the public hearing. I voted aye.
Okay, all right. And chair votes aye, so 500 to close the public hearing. And I guess I would entertain a motion.
Motion to approve this subdivision subject to the conditions that the planning board implements HOA as we've discussed, so yes.
Second.
Madam Chair, to request to modify that motion in findings of fact and conditions.
Yes, sorry.
Subject to findings of fact and conditions.
Right.
So all in favor? You seconded?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All in favor?
Mike Baptiste, aye.
Julie Moran, aye.
Sam Corbett, aye.
Carl?
Carl Schultz abstains.
And Jane Gleason, aye.
Okay. 4-0-1.
All right, thank you all for your time.
So we need to look at dates for coming back to vote on again, we have until, I'm guessing, is this correct, until May 8th? Is it the same time frame?
I'll have to double check. I'm not sure.
So, well, let's put it on for April 13th, as with the other, and we'll see you back here then.
Okay.
Conditions and findings of fact, and please submit material that you would like in the findings of fact and conditions.
Okay.
So, and same for the applicant
Yep.
and anybody else on your team, so.
Okay.
What would be most helpful for the board from my perspective? Would you like me to share recent subdivision approvals in Form Fs for you
Sure.
to consider?
Sure.
That'd be helpful.
Okay.
Yep, and we will work on putting our end of it together.
Okay.
Okay, so,
Have a good night.
Thank you.
you too.
So-
You too.
Anything else?
I just want to report as a
Yes,
liaison.
the Serpent, yeah.
Yeah, Serpent. There was, as all of us have been doing, we've been following the clean energy bill and the regulations and the guidelines. this past week, there was the third and final public information session about the guidelines. It was online, very well attended, and I wanted to just speak just for a minute about the items that I raised my hand and discussed. Immediately prior to my presentation of points, there was a woman who lives in the western part of the state who has clearly a background in hydrology and expressed grave concern about the fact that the guidelines really did not focus as much as they should, if at all, on water quality, aquifer protection. She felt that they were really glaringly absent in covering that and was very concerned about it. And Rick Collins, I guess, was the moderator, who understood and acknowledged that and told her that they would be looking at that. So when I started my presentation, I made sure that I mirrored her concerns. Particularly, she was talking about things like private septic systems, private wells, and I wanted to make clear that she had said, the western part of the state, there are issues. I wanted them to make sure that we have similar issues in Wareham and frankly, many, many places on the east side of Massachusetts. I also talked about that we are a tier 3 community. We have environmental justice communities. That I was dismayed by what little coverage there was for inclusion of environmental justice communities in the public meetings, in the comments, in what was being produced in the guidelines to take into account the impact on environmental justice community, reminding them that both the AG, Governor Healy, has talked many times, spoken about the need to include them in this process around clean energy, particularly solar, and that I felt that the guidelines did not cover that sufficiently, did not provide enough discussion about the impact and the remediation of that impact. I also talked about the fact that Wareham is somewhat unique in the number of solar farms that we have, in the amount, and as a result, the amount of clear cutting, removal of valuable pine barrens, removal of established forests, last count 538 acres. I also mentioned that Wareham has either both permitted and permitted pending over 24 solar projects, that we were unfortunately unique as having that kind of number, that I wasn't sure there was any other community that had that amount, and the impact on carbon sequestration and just the clear cutting itself. And then my final point was the issue of cumulative impact, which, having spoken about how many projects we had, I rolled into the cumulative impact. And again, I felt that there was insufficient treatment in the regulations, but in the guidelines as well, around the cumulative impact. Mr. Collins acknowledged that and said he was very aware of Wareham's impact on Wareham, how many solar farms we have pending or permitted, and that was something they were looking at closely, along with the environmental justice communities. The comment period ends the 13th. I plan to send comments along supporting those points before the deadline, which is this week. But there were other people who spoke. There were towns that were disturbed by the fact that this seemed like a rush process, that many of them had already closed their town meetings for the year, and therefore their ability to introduce any new requirements that they might overlay on this was really lost. The town of Wayland woman was particularly outspoken about that, and many of the speakers spoke about how this was so fast-tracked that it's caught many communities unaware, unprepared to have their own set of regulations that could be an overlay over the guidelines, and guidelines particularly in the regulations. So there were folks who were quite distressed about the way in which this was rolled out, handled, how little time there was given for feedback, and that there were key points, some of which I had mentioned, some of which others had mentioned, that did not seem to be addressed in the guidelines. So that was my message to them on behalf of the planning board. Obviously, I started with, I'm a member of the planning
Yeah,
board.
thank you for,
Yep.
for
We'll see. We'll see what,
putting that out there.
they are
Much
effective
appreciated.
July 1st, and I think they can be no later than July 1st, no later than October for
Right.
implementation. So it is here.
Yeah, if we want to start allowing these projects July 1st, we can start doing it.
Yep.
We must start doing it October 1st.
Yeah. So not a lot of time at
No.
all. Yep. So,
Which,
anyway,
again, before our town meeting.
Yeah,
yeah,
You know, we are another community that falls victim to that.
yes, very troubling.
Other than the fact that we've done a lot of work,
Yeah.
you all have done a lot of work
Yeah.
when it comes to
Yeah.
solar.
and you,
Clearly more than most was the impression I got. There were
Yeah.
many who had not even seen their first
Yeah.
project,
Yeah.
but there were a number that I spoke with after who are just starting to see their first project and don't feel that they're prepared.
the battery storage is the, probably more.
Anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to close the meeting,
Second,
adjourn the meeting.
adjourn.
All in favor?
I was having so much fun, I don't want to leave.
Julie?
Second, sorry, yes, aye.
Sam Corbett, aye.
I can end up
Carl?
Carl Schultz, aye.
And Jane Gleason, aye.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, enjoy your travels.
Thank you. It's 70.